Welcome to PhD&D on YouTube and another edition of Moving Forth. 4th edition rules talks, 4th edition gaming talks, all around ways to make Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition a better game for you. Today the topic is damage resistances and multiple damage type attacks. So, without further ado, I'm going to head over to the classroom and show you a little bit more. In Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, as in a couple other gaming systems, you have certain resistances to types of damage. Types of damage can include cold damage, fire, lightning, thunder, and so on. Now, resistances protect you from that type of damage. Perhaps a deity is able to resist radiant damage because, obviously, he is a deity and that's not going to affect him. Clerics, perhaps, who are familiar with radiant energy can, put up a barrier against it. Or perhaps a red dragon is not going to take a lot of fire damage. He lives in fire. So, that is the type of damage, or types of damage you play with and have resistances with. Now, it can get a little confusing in 4th edition. If you resist 5, let's say fire damage, and you take an attack that deals 10 fire damage, obviously, 5 of that you don't take. But, in 4th edition they've introduced, and they have multiple damage types mixed into one. So if you take fire and lightning damage, you actually do take all that damage, even if you resist 5 fire. The reason is, I believe, because fire and lightning creates a new type of energy that is coming at you, or a new type of element coming at you. It is not fire, and it is not lightning. It is a mixture of the two. So, in Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, if you only resist one type out of that multiple damage type attack, you take the full effect of the attack. Your resistance does not matter. Here's where it gets tricky. If you resist fire and you resist lightning, then we have to take the lesser of the two. So let me show you that before it gets too confusing. If you resist 5 fire damage, and I hope everyone can see this, and you resist 10 lightning damage, and the attack that is coming at you deals 15 fire and lightning, it specifies that it's a 2 damage type attack, then we have to choose the lesser of the two of these, which would be the 5 fire to resist it. Now, in the game system, that may not seem fair. Your guy's built himself up to a point where he can withstand lightning quite well, and he can withstand a little bit of fire. But an attack that is going to deal both of them, he cannot handle. I believe they've allowed you to choose the weaker of the two, because obviously your character is familiar with these types of damage, and so he can put up something against them when they're combined, but it is the weaker of the two. So, if the attack deals 15 fire and lightning, you would resist the weaker of your 2 resistances. So you'd resist 5, taking only 10 damage. Make sense? Now, I hope I didn't lose you in the classroom with that, because that's a lot of numbers, it's a lot of stuff thrown together all up front. So just to recap that really quickly, if there's a multiple damage type attack, that is an attack dealing 2 different types of damage, you need to resist both types for any resistance to take effect at all. And if in fact you do resist both types, you must take the weaker of your 2 resistances and apply that one. So I hope that's clarified. Now to talk just a little bit about damage types and how you can use them in role-playing and some things you can do to spice up your game a little bit. With damage types, I believe it is the responsibility of a player to role-play his character, obviously. As a DM, you can be aware of resistances they have, but I can tell you from personal experience, if you get up to the epic tier of Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, you cannot keep track of all that. There is so much else you need to be doing at the epic tier, you can't worry about what they resist. So in your flavorful descriptions of damage they're taking, if you tell someone, you take fire and lightning damage as lightning courses from his hand and catches flame before it runs into your character, something along those lines. Let's say he does resist it. Let's say he resists a good deal of it. I believe it is up to the player to continue that narrative to show his resistance. It's extremely lame if after his flavorful description the player sits there and goes, well, no I don't. I resist 10 of that. That is stupid. Sorry, but that is not role-playing. Role-playing would be something along the lines of the fire courses over my armor, seeming to do no harm, as I brush off the lightning as I have many times before. Something like that, and that might not even be very good, but you get the picture. They are describing themselves deflecting part of this attack, or describing how they're handling it to take less damage. And in all honesty, if they're not comfortable with that, then maybe they don't say anything at all. They just do the numbers in their head, and they know they resist 10, so they just take the number you gave them minus 10. That's fine. If all of this is too confusing and too much for your game and you're not agreeing with this rule, toss it out. This is an easy one to toss out. You can, for multiple damage attacks like I was talking, if you don't want to remember they have to have both resistances and then they take the weakest of the resistances, just say if they resist one of them, maybe they resist the whole attack. Or maybe they never resist an attack. Something along those lines. Take it, make it what you want. I hope that clarifies damage types, multiple damage type attacks. That is moving forth for this week. I'll try to keep them short. If you have anything you'd like to see on moving forth, please send it to me. Let me know on Facebook, Twitter, here, comment, message, whatever you wish to see. I'll bring it to you. This has been Moving Forth. A better Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition is our goal. Thanks for watching.